Hello guys, welcome. Welcome to another episode of Ripster Daily Trade Recaps and Teachings. All right guys, what a day, what a day. Today was one of those days where you make profits that would cover your many days. It cover your weeks, it cover your sometimes it cover your whole month, right? It was that, led by the SMCI and many other trades that worked for us. Beautiful trade in the community. Only 20% people in the community were red. I usually try to see if 16 to 18% is our average, but very happy to see the performance in the community today. Very well done with everyone. Everybody followed. We were on the right side of the trend. We did not go against the trend. Most of our game plan setups were working out. So let's start. Let's start the recap. A lot to recap today. Let's go one by one and see how our plays panned out. Before I start, just a quick introduction. I'm going to try to do a quick introduction. I'm trying to do this quick video today. So the quick introduction, guys, anybody who's new to my Twitter, my YouTube, or new to my community, all these trade recaps and teachings are from any trade ideas, swing ideas, or investment ideas that we share on, I share in my community, or I share it on YouTube or my Twitter or my X. We trade repeatable system. My repeatable system, thousands of traders across the world use to trade it consistently, and we have repeatable setups. We do not trade if there's no setup. We do not trade. The fixed set of rules that we follow. We have all the education in our community. Of course, I've been teaching free, and I still have my free website, free YouTube. You can learn everything about my system and my setups. But we do have dedicated webinars and PowerPoints and presentations which teach all these setups in the community. Right? Every morning, me and my team, we create a game plan. You see the game plan for today that includes all the earning plays, upgrades, downgrades, market, news plays. Right, so based upon that we have support and resistance, and we have initial game plan that you see on the left side, right side. We will talk about more about it. Then we also have our day 2, day 3 strategy that I built. PDD and SBUX were one of our top day 2, day 3 plays today, which triggered, and I guided the community. We'll talk about that. And I'll also share every day I share the levels, support and resistance levels, which you can use with our Ripster EMA Cloud to trade. And these levels also shared in the pre-market as per our pre-market planning. Then we also share our low float and penny stocks. We didn't really focus on low float penny stocks today because large caps were paying us so much, but this is all our game plan in pre-market that is provided to the community 15 to 20 minutes before the market open. When the market opens, I'm on the voice guiding the community through the trades, guiding general market commentary, general buys. Are we bullish or bearish on the market? How's are our news plays doing? If any of our news plays that I like, that trigger, then I share with the community, and so that we can short or long, we can buy calls or puts, trade all day, and make some profits. And if we lose, we'll try to keep our losers small. So I will show you all my time spent commentary. I will show you my pre-market guidance as well, and then we'll go from there. So let's start. So I'm gonna start talking about SPY and the market first. Initially, I'm gonna talk about the market, and because I just want, if you want to learn about more about everyday how we trade SPY QQQ, watch my previous recaps. I'm not gonna take too much time on SPY QQQ today. Again, like I always talk, every morning market has a personality. This morning the market was capping down. What is the key concepts we are watching here? We are watching the pre-market lows, and then we are watching our clouds. My cloud system right here tells me if it's bullish or bearish. We are under it, so it's bearish. And right here, QQQ was already bearish, but it did not break the pre-market lows. So let's see what my guidance was to the community this morning on SPY QQQ. So let's see here. Okay, so as soon as market opens, I tell everybody you can short scalp SPY and QQQ. You can have risk of high of the day. When I saw this breakdown of this candle breakdown and this breakdown, QQQ was still holding up. QQQ was still holding up because it didn't break the pre-market lows, and the financials were strong, so it was keeping up the QQQs up. So SPY was a little choppy, but QQQ was SPY was holding up, QQQ was bearish. So SPY was holding up because of the financials, but our signal, our system told us that it's getting bearish. QQQ was clearly bearish. You see Ripster labels were bearish, everything was bearish. So I told the community, you can short scalps, you can buy the puts, and so SPY QQQ tried to turn bullish. It tried to test our 512 clouds. You see here, we are testing the 512 clouds. but we right away rejected that 512s, right? So let me show you 512 reject. So we are talking about this turning bullish, but here this will reject. Here's when you short it again. You short it right away again, and it never reclaimed the bullishness. So our system says until and unless it's over 512 clouds, we are bearish. We are going to stay bearish until and unless the stock or the index moves over that. So we are bearish. So I tell everyone we are bearish, confirmed bearish. See what I'm saying here? Confirmed bearish on SPY QQQ. So when we are confirmed bearish on SPY QQQ, we can add puts, we can hold puts, we can add leverage ETF shorts like SBUX or we can short the semiconductors, which I will talk about next. We can long SOXS, which is the inverse of the semiconductors, or we can short SOXL, or we can do, there's many leverage ETFs. You can long SQQQ, which was a long all day because it's opposite to the market, and you can short TQQQ. So we were bearish. I told everybody we were bearish, and my target that everybody I gave, my first target was 470, 468 on Qs. You can see these are my targets that I gave, and the target on SPY I gave was 570. Let's see here. Okay. So the first target, so it was 470 on Qs and 468, but the first target on SPY was yesterday's low. So that was your first target on the short, right? So we were short. Nobody in our community or any of my followers on Twitter, and I was guiding everybody on Twitter as well. So that's how we stayed short all day on SPY QQQ, right? So not going to spend too much time, but it was a winning guidance, and you have those levels I gave in the pre-market. Once we broke those support pivots, we were short all day on the SPY and QQQ. All right, next I'm going to talk about semiconductors, right? So why was market heavy? Because semiconductors were heavy. What is a semiconductor? It's SOXL, the semiconductor ETF. You can see under the clouds, under the MTF clouds, bearish. Then we have SMH ETF, which is bearish, right? So this market is bearish, semiconductors are bearish. We know the system is telling us bearish. We all need to have to find the entry, and a good entry is always close to the resistance, always close to the EMA clouds. And you can see how this SOXL is mimicking the QQQs, SMH is mimicking the QQQs. You can see how the market moves in the sync, right? You need to know that how the market moves in sync. So those were the shorts. Now, how would you capitalize on those shorts, right? I talked about SOXS in the community that, you can long SOXS, right? This was SOXS. You can long it, you long it for 2250s. You long it on this pullback on the clouds. It's a nice push to 24. So we are short on the semiconductors, so you can long their leverage ETF. Now there were shorts on, what were their shorts on, right? The money to be made on NVDA, right? So NVDA was a short right here. Then AMD was a short. AMD was a short. Right in this bear flag breakdown, right? So that one was short. So you could short other semiconductors. ARM is always a great short. That's why I give all these levels in the pre-market. ARM, AMD, NVIDIA. Pause the screen, watch these levels. Any of those levels, when it broke down and we got a short, we got a confirm. So you take any of these levels and you short it, and then that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do when you are trying to short these names, semiconductors. So I'm teaching you how the market is heavy. Do not, as a day trader, do not touch the longs. Do not. So the best thing I'm proud of in community is, even if we are not making money on the short side, but nobody is touching it long. Nobody is losing money going long there. And that's what I make sure when I'm on voice. A lot of this guidance is mostly on voice. What you see on my chat here, that's like 30%, but most of my guidance, 70%, is on the voice that I talk about all day long, in the community with the traders. So anyways, right, so you can see all these levels. I gave you this. Pause the screen, see how they worked out, and everything was a really nice short in the community. AMD, NVIDIA, ARM. You see, I always have these chips on my watch lists every day, so can I browse through them fast and short them, right? Not all of, if you don't want to short individual names, you just long SOXS, right? So that was a beautiful fade all day. Let's go to the next one. All right, let's talk about quickly about on Tesla. So we already know the market is bearish, right? The market is heavy, so Tesla is short. So I told everybody in the morning that Tesla is bearish. Watch the pops to short. Remember, all people in my community, I showed you that only 20% were red. They're executing themselves. I have taught everybody so well that I don't really need to handhold and tell them buy this, put and exit and entries. All I need to tell is what's going on. And of course, some of the trades like SMCI, you'll see my guidance. They already know. So let's say we're short Tesla. Then I tell them no short over 209. What does that mean? If the stock goes over 209, you get out of the short. You short that pop, right? And then you see that it's basing, and then right away when it breaks down, that's when you short. This is the short scalp. Not the best short today, but I just wanted to show the power of this 209 level, right? 209 was never really crossed. This candle doesn't mean anything. There was never a built up over 209, and there's a lower lows, lower highs. It tries to hold, but when the market is tanking, right away Tesla is again a good short. That's how you do these short setups. All right, let's go to the big dog of today that really nailed. We really nailed it today. Let's look at SMCI, right? This SMCI is going to be packed today. Let's see. So let's start with SMCI. Let's first go back, right? We have been talking about SMCI in the community for some, since yesterday, since we had that Heidenberg news, and that's how we traded that Heidenberg news. You can watch yesterday's video how we did on SMCI. But when the news came out about the delay in 10K filing on SMCI, that was pretty bad. Right, explain my thesis. It doesn't not mean that company is actually fraud or not. That's not the question here. The question here is when you delay the financial filing a day after when you are accused of a financial fraud, that raises a lot of eyebrows. That makes a lot of people panic, and it's very bad news. And that's what I mentioned. That's what I mentioned in the pre-market. And the way SMCI was breaking the 500 level, you don't even need the news. If it breaks 500 level, that's it. It's a 500 psychological level. There's no buying under 500 psychological level. So that's what I said. Trade versus buy 500, bearish bias to short the pop. So I was so confident in the pre-market. The game plan I gave was trade versus 500, bearish bias to short the pop. So that I already gave. You should have been ready. Your puts have been ready. Your shorts should have been ready. Everything you should have been ready, right? I actually sold what my swing when I heard that news in the pre-market. I was trying shorting it even the pre-market alone, and then as soon as the market opens. And I can probably show you guys that I talked about even before the market opened. I talked about that. We can see that way it's going. Let's see, guys. You see that I mentioned that 915 SMCI 450 where it's going. In the pre-market alone, I gave that idea that we are going to go to 450. The way SMCI is selling off, right? So that idea I gave in the pre-market alone. So now let's see what happens. I'm just going to show you the screenshot here, right? So of course, I was busy buying the puts right at the open. I can show you my market order of my buys that I bought. That's why I was not typing, but I was on the voice. I did tell everyone it's a bad idea. It's very bad. And as soon as I saw the candles not holding up, you see this, it's under the pre-market lows, it's a short. I tell the community it's a short, and then right away I give them 550 target, right? 450 target. I ideally give them. Then the amateur moves turns into trend move, and in the amateur move alone, we hit 450. It was 10 minutes we hit our target. The 480 puts I had, they just went. Then it was that already went 100%. That in first the first 10 minutes, that SMCI, the 480 puts I was trading, even if you shorted 100 shares, you're already up the 5 grand there, 4 grand there. So after that, it's all about managing your trade, taking some puts out, leaving few runners. If you made 5 grand, put $1,000. Let if you had 10 contracts, leave few. If you have 5 contracts, leave 2, leave 1. So then it was all about the targets. I tell everyone, leave the runners, leave the runners. I never tell anyone to close everything. Leave the runners. 440, 430, 425. 3 targets I gave everyone at 940. At 940 I gave those targets, and then 430 target was coming, then 440 target buyer. We watched the book map, the 440, there was a buyer, it's clear, you know, and I made sure nobody's buying it in my community. I made sure nobody's buying it. We hit our 430 target. Next one we hit was our 425 target. And even at 420s, I told my folks to add 400 Ps, the 400 puts on the profit. And those 400 puts also went way profitable, right? You can see all the guidance here all day, no BS, no hindsight, all the guidance is right here. I made sure that my community is making the most, maximizing the potential of this trade, right? So you can see that EMA Clouds never gave us a signal to long, and we will talk about the long in a minute here. But you can pause the screen and see what I'm saying. Does it match with what I, what you see on the screen, right? So that was it. So that was the short side. Let's look at the long side now. All right, so now I'm going to talk about what I'm going to talk about. This is a curl, what was happening, how did the curl, there are a few concepts that I want to talk about. So we know that 400, we were looking at we have a lot of tools in our community. We're looking at the level tools, at the book map. We can see that there's a big buyer that's sitting at 400, right? So ideally, if we break that buyer, we are looking for more flush. But there's a concept called the concept of reclaim. That means that the concept of reclaim, which I often cover in a lot of my videos, on my tweets, the concept of reclaim means when a support is broken and it's reclaimed right away, it's very bullish. So that's what we were watching. So let's go back to one of the longs that we did, so I can show you a little bit here. So you see that I said if it keeps holding the 400, once it broke 400 and reclaimed 400, then I said it can bounce. Why? Because 400 was a proven support. It was broken, but it was reclaimed, and we could see the buyers. And I also show the option, and options flow I think also started coming in at that time. On our trade floor, I'm sure there was some option flow that started to come in. So we saw the bounce, and then it was a long versus 400, right? Let's see if I can we can talk, see there. So I'll show you later. I started buying that 400. You can see my calls. I started to load up on that. Even though it was a D minus setup, it was under clouds. That's fine. It's a calculated risk because I know it's a reclaim, right? So that's why. And let's see if I can. I just want to show you something that my comments here in the community, right? Let's see. Yeah. So I did tell the community, I mean, on the trading floor as well, long scalps versus for those. There was two entries. The first entry was either the 400s, closer to that, or 512 curls. You can take whatever entry you want, of course. Once we curled over 512, you can see this price alert, then becomes another entry. My community already knows because they know all these concepts. So I don't really have to, tell people, hey, buy here, buy. I don't have to scream, because we know the concepts, and when you do it on your own, you learn, and you can literally see traders banked both ways, right? But you can see system says long, we long, your stops under the last 10-minute candles, and after that it was just managing the targets, right? I can show you that. So concept of reclaim, 512 curls, and then we just hold it. So the target, whenever we get a 512 curls, the first target is always 3450. That's our system. That's our Ripster EMA Cloud system. That we are long, right? There's no reason to cut. Why would we cut? I did give the stops. Once we started to move, I told everybody to have 410 stops. If you're a swing trader, have 400 stops. When we pushed further, I gave the stops of 420, right? Then when we hit our 440 target, I told everybody to lock. And I sold all my options when we hit my third. I had some shares which I sold after hours, but this was a trade, right? You see this, right? You see that right here. Let's see if I can show you that. Yeah, so you see that I'm a continuous commentary, right? No short anymore, long scalping that reclaim. You can see here what I was telling everyone. So there was money to be made, and literally the whole community nailed it. A lot of traders who are new, who don't know the setups, they kind of hesitated. They didn't want to chase. But these things comes with the confidence, because once there's news like this, you need to be experienced enough to understand a good news, bad news, and that's what I tried to tell my community, that how to do that, right? So that was the mega trade, the trade of the month. you saw my options there as well, and beautiful trade all day today. And there was like, I mean, I did just the market orders on the open. So let's see if I can show you that as well. Yeah, so somebody was asking if what I did. So these were my market orders at the open. It went to 40-45 bucks. I had a really good 100% trade. We don't show P&Ls, that's not the point here, but I do try to show my executions a lot of times. So it's not just I'm talking, but I also execute, and I just want to make sure you guys learn, and next time there's a mega trade like this, you guys can execute it and profit so that you can grow your trading accounts. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, next ones I'm going to go very fast. These are all my repeatable setups. All the guidance was given in the pre-market. Let's look at PDD. So let's look at PDD. So PDD was a day 2 short. I think Win was on that as well. So let's go to our day 2 setup. My first day to setup, my top day to setup. I take time every day, every night and in the morning, and my team fills up these levels with me. We make sure the top place, PDD, the number 1 day 2 day 3 setup. Support 93, resistance 95, nothing is too low. As soon as support goes, you can actually start the short right here, and you can add more into the shorts, right? And 90, I talked about 90. If you watch my last few videos, I talked about 90, 90, 90. There was 90 put that actually came in, was alerted by a flow, and that 90 put went into money now. Look at this flush. That's a beautiful 3-day flush. There's, if you don't know the day 2, day 3 setups, these are least stressful setups. You must learn them. You can watch my webinars, or you can watch hundreds of my YouTube recap videos. I always teach about these systems. Very easy, very good. Let's look at another day to setup. All right, so next, so similar thing, right? Starbucks. So Starbucks ran big time yesterday. So what? I had it right on the top of my list, number 2, Starbucks day 2, day 3 setup. And the moment I saw it, because I was watching it, it ran a lot yesterday, so it was on my watch for the short. And as soon as my price alerts hit, you see the price alerts, I tell them day 2 setup looks heavy for short, right? And since I said that, it faded all the way 94, 97. For you see that, right? The see how our setups work. Just the 2 top setups on day 2, day 3 setups. And there's been money to be made. That's why my community traders are consistently. They are making money. We lose, that's fine. We lose, what would have lost? We would have $1. But the downside short was $3. That's a good risk to reward, right? You always covered in the MTF. You shorted 1,000 shares here when I was talking right here at 98. By the time we hit 96, at $2 per share profit, right? So Starbucks, guys, was another beautiful day 2, day 3 short. So next one we're going to talk about is AMBA. AMBA was from our game plan. Let's go to our game plan and see what was our game plan on AMBA. Game plan AMBA was gap fill under 62, long over. As simple as that. I had given the gap fill in the pre-market alone. So, excuse me, as soon as it breaks right here, high conviction, breaking the support, breaking the Ripster EMA Clouds. It's a short from 62 all the way to 57. I didn't watch it. I was busy in SMCI, but I did tell everyone gap fill short, right? 59, 57, 60. I gave those 2 targets. And even after I mentioned that, it popped, faded all day. Beautiful gap fill all day long. You didn't even need me to tell you, because the setup was so clean, and I gave that in the pre-market game plan. Beautiful trade, even after my mentions and guidance. All right, now let's look at LI. So LI was, I'm so confident about LI because LI, every time it fades. Every time I've shorted it, it's not the first time I trade on LI. Every time I short it, it has worked. Every time it's shorted, it has worked. It's just so high conviction short for me always, right? So I told everybody right at open, short, watch pops, right? Because I don't want anybody to market order it. And the short, right at the open, you short it. The short goes from 1950s all the way to 1744s. Great one for small accounts, 50 to 80% on the puts. You risk what? Maybe if you risk $1,000, you made like $2,000. So that was kind of the trade. You didn't even need to risk that much. You risk $500, you could have made that $2. So all the timestamp guidance here, guys, no hindsight, everything in front of you. Pre-market planning, we can take a look. Bearish bias to short the pop. The planning was given right before the market open. Everything was there. LI, beautiful short. There was another very good short in the community today. A lot of guidance by a lot of traders. There was ANF. ANF bearish bias, trade versus 150, 148 pivot, 150 pivot, 155. But ANF again was bearish right away at the open, and ANF was another short, right? So short so far, the game plan, all day fade, ANF under the pivots I gave to 134.59. Another one, big winner, beautiful play. There was another short from the game plan FL. I'm just going to quickly go. There are too many plays today. So bearish to neutral bias, but once it breaks this support pivot, that was the game plan. It's a short, right? So again, some people trade something, some people trade something. I try to cover all the nice trades we had in the community. So you see that Footlocker also, since I mentioned the short went on to 27.34. Even if you cover right here, it was still over your break-even price. Beautiful, it's okay for small account. That's more than enough. So another one was CHWY. So CHWY was pretty good. It was a long in the community today. The game plan on CHWY was simple, only long over the clouds. So you see how my game plan is different, right? I'm saying bearish bias, and here I'm saying long over the clouds, because I have that bias that it can work. The moment I see CHWY going, I tell everybody on the voice that it's long, and the CHWY ran from, what was our pivots on CHWY? The CHWY pivots were 2680, 2724. And you see, once those pivots were gone, CHWY was off to races. The target I was gave 30, and I told everyone if 30 breaks, you might get some more. So it pushes over 30, 30.62, and once it breaks down here, you get out, right? But you scale on the way. There's no reason to cut CHWY fully because 512 never broke. So that's why I never tell anybody to exit. So let's look at a loser today. ASTS was a loser today. So we were trying to curl this 512 curls, and then it was trying for a 3450 curl. So it was like a 3450 curl failure. That was the loser trade here, right? That I told everyone 3450 is bullish, but that 3450 gave up and then it faded back. So you're right. So if you longed here, you take a stop right here, take $1 loss, move on.